All right, hello guys, welcome once again to AGIT Codeworks. Today we are going to be talking about the MySQL database, one of the world's best open source database management systems. I'm talking about a database that has proven itself over time. We're talking about a database that has up to 21 million web pages all over the world or web applications, depending on it for data. All right, let's get this. Okay, so first of all, we are going to be discussing the MySQL database. By the way, these are the objectives for this particular tutorial. Now, if you are watching this tutorial and you're a website designer or you build web applications, okay, basically you would need this particular database either at some point or you already need it, use it right now. Okay, MySQL is one of the world's leading relational database management system, and what makes it really popular is the fact that it's actually free to download and use. So a lot of websites and web applications out there depend on it for data management. In this tutorial, I'll be showing us how to set up your MySQL database. We're going to be looking at use cases for MySQL. We're going to be setting up a MySQL database server. We're going to be creating a database also for our web application. Okay, but for now, let's start a discussion on MySQL. First of all, I think I've mentioned it. MySQL, in case you don't know, is what we call a relational database management system. Now, what that means is that it's a database that can handle data in rows and columns in a relational format. More on that in our more extensive database courses. But basically, what you need to know now is that all those softwares you see and applications you see online, they have to have something we call a database at the back, especially dynamic web applications. Most people start up their web development career from HTML. Most, I'm not saying all, most HTML. Now, with HTML, you will build just static web pages. Okay, that means web pages that don't have any data at the back end controlling it, and therefore you cannot create sessions, login, or dynamically add products to an online store and things like that. MySQL is at the heart of making this possible. Okay, in fact, statistically speaking, according to the survey at Web Tech Survey, MySQL is discovered to have up to 21 million web applications, depending on it. It says here we have discovered 21 blah 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 million websites that use MySQL. Well, you don't have to take my word for it. You can look it up online. Up to 21, a whooping 21 million web applications depend on it. That means opportunities are bound out there for people with a MySQL skill set. Okay, let's continue our discussion. Now, first of all, MySQL is sponsored, developed, currently marketed by a company called Oracle Corporation. Now, it was not like that from the beginning. It used to be owned. MySQL used to be owned by an organization known as Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems, that's the company behind the popular Java programming language. They own Java programming language. They owned MySQL. They own Solaris and a couple of other technologies. So in 2010, Oracle acquired Sun Microsystems, and therefore now Oracle owns MySQL. Hence, sometimes in some web pages you hear them call it Oracle MySQL. Okay, Oracle also owns Java currently, and Oracle also owns Solaris. Okay, this happened because of the acquisition of the company in 2010. Okay, so now, because we've already mentioned that MySQL is used for making your web pages dynamic and also storing information on a website. Example, chat applications, online stores, they rely on a MySQL database. They can rely on a MySQL database to store records that will enable the page hold dynamic data. Okay, so now what are the use cases for MySQL? Okay, the most popular use case for MySQL is usually for web developers, okay, who want a very reliable way to store data in their databases, especially if you develop with some of the programming languages like PHP and so on and so forth. For example, if you download a software called XAMPP, it comes bundled, pre-bundled with PHP and also MySQL and so on and so forth. That tells you how compatible, okay, the language is with the MySQL database. Okay. For more details on how to set up a PHP and a MySQL environment, I'll leave the link in the description. Next thing, we're going to talk about how to set up the MySQL server. I've discussed that. We already have a software called XAMPP. It comes with both PHP and MySQL, but I'm focusing on the MySQL database. Then we're going to create a database for our web application. All right, so let's get down to the practical. All right, what I have here is a copy of the setup file for my XAMPP server. This is XAMPP, okay, this is XAMPP. And then to download XAMPP, I already have XAMPP installed, but let me walk you through on how to download it. I'll also leave a link in the description if you want to download directly from the link on this video. So to download XAMPP, you can just open up your web browser and say download XAMPP. Okay, just download XAMPP. I think the first link that pops up, Apache and Friends, open it up, bam, straight up we are seeing this is the Windows version, there's a Linux version, and there's a Mac OS version. Okay, I'm on a Windows system, so I'll basically download this. So I already have XAMPP installed. It might be, this is the latest version, it might be an older version, but your installation basically will not be too different. It will not be different at all from mine. Okay, so just hit the download button here for 64-bit system. This is it. Okay, this is like 159 MB. So you notice at the lower left hand side of my screen, my download has started. So I'm going to pause this download. I would not need to download the software all over again. All right, so if you download it, you would have this on your system. Okay, now first things first, let us run it as an administrator. That's the first step in setting the database up. Okay, so important, blah 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 blah. Just hit OK here. It takes you to this page. Welcome to XAMPP setup. You go next. Now these are the packages that come with XAMPP. This is part of what makes XAMPP a very useful software. MySQL, that's our database. FileZilla, that's a file server. This is a mail server. This is a Tomcat. Really useful for hosting, let's say, web-based Java applications. PHP is here, Perl is here, PHPMyAdmin, which is an interface for managing your database, the Webalizer, blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. So we just go next, nothing much to change here. Now this is the location for my installation. I already have it installed on my system, remember that. So let's say, let me just change this. So just leave yours like this, don't change anything, just hit the next button, next. Okay, it takes me to this page. Now if I take next, setup is now ready to start, so I will cancel this because I do not need it, but you let yours conclude. Okay, I already have XAMPP installed on my system. So when the install, so I've stopped installation, so but you let yours run. Now when it's done installing, the next thing we'll have to do is we are going to set up what we call the path variable for MySQL. Basically, you want to control MySQL from your command line. The first step is to set up what we call the path variable. Okay, to do that, go to the location first of all where XAMPP was installed. So I open this PC in my drive C. You notice XAMPP here, right? This is the one I attempted to install now. You've got nothing to do with that. So this is XAMPP here. Okay, I'll open up XAMPP. Inside my XAMPP folder, you see MySQL. Remember, I told you MySQL is bundled already with XAMPP. But some people might want to download MySQL separately. That's still perfect. That's still okay. But I prefer to bundle it since I develop with PHP, so I download everything once, bundle into one software. So this is my MySQL folder. Inside it, there's a bin folder. So you open the bin folder, copy this location here. Remember, we're about to set the path variable so we can control MySQL from our command line. So I just click here. All right, see this? So copy. All right, so I copy this. Remember, you click here, this space here, and then you copy this path. All right, now what we do next is you hit your Windows button, type env. It will show you edit system environment variables. Remember, we are setting up MySQL. So when you click that, it takes you to this page. So under this page, go to environment variables. So under environment variables, I select path. This is path. I click on path. I could double click it, or I just select it and say edit. Okay, when I'm here, if you notice, I've already added MySQL to my path. Okay, but to add it, this is it here on my path already. But for you to add it, say new. So you click on new here. When you click on new, then you paste the location here. Okay, then you take OK and OK and OK. All right, now that we have this, next thing is to start up our exam server. Sometimes after installation, your exam server could start up on its own. Okay, but whether it does or not, you can go ahead and start it. Okay, so now to open up XAMPP, I hit my Windows button, you type XAMPP. Run as administrator, always advised to run XAMPP as an administrator. And I say yes here, so it starts up. So this is what I want to be seeing. There is no, if there was an error message here, one of these messages would be read. By the way, if you encounter any error here, like a port is being used and so on and so forth, it means there's a port being blocked and you need to unblock that port. Now, if you encounter such error messages, please hit me up on the comment section. Okay, just type the exact error message you are seeing. I would respond and tell you exactly what to do to fix it. But for most, this is going to come out good. Okay, so I can start my MySQL server. Okay, depending on the service you need, XAMPP comes with an array of services. Very useful for a web developer to have. Apache, FileZilla, Mercury, Tomcat. Okay, so what we're concerned with is the MySQL service, with which we can now create a database for our web applications. Okay, now that we've started, let's go to the command line and access MySQL. So I hit my Windows button, I type cmd. Please, if you have not successfully set up the path variable, this step will not work. This cmd path is working because I've set up what I call my path variable. Because the path variable, what the path variable basically does is it points the system to the bin folder. The bin, that's the binary folder, okay, containing the command directives MySQL would need should you want to access it via command line. All right, let's do this. So you type the command MySQL space -u space root. Root is basically the default super user in a MySQL environment. So when I hit my enter button, say hello, this turns to MySQL. So that is good. So far so good. We have a we have a MySQL environment set up. Now, because I already have some database available, for if you are new to MySQL and you are just setting it up, you will not have any database available. So for me, because I have some, but you can go ahead and type the command show databases, right? Show databases. These are all databases I have available here. Well, that's because I've been doing a couple of projects, so the databases are going to be here. So, but for you, you might not have it, but it doesn't matter. I'll still put us through on how to create a database for our applications and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you succeeded with this, we are going to be looking for a way to, we're going to be creating a database for a simple online store. Okay, so if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you found the video useful. Don't forget to hit the like button. And why I'm saying this is because I'm going to be posting another video where I create a database, create the data structures, and then link it to an actual web application. We are going to be doing that for this application. Okay, here, so we're going to be doing it for this. This is a simple online store built with simple HTML. Okay, I am going to be showing us how to create a database for this store. This is Edit Codeworks Cyber Store version 2.0, not a real store though. If you notice, it's also responsive. That means if I inspect and I put it in the mobile version, it would look like this. Please, if you don't understand how to build this, or if you cannot do this yet, I'll put the link in the description for my video on responsive web design. That is where I designed this. Okay, in my next MySQL video, I am going to be posting a way to build a database for this. whereby all these products will be stored in the database instead of stored in my HTML code. The price, the name, the description, and so on and so forth. Okay, now that we've done this, now let's do one more thing. We're not going to be creating data structures like tables. We'll do that in the next video. But what I want to do now is to create a simple database for our cyber store. So this is our cyber store, right? Let's just remove this inspect. This is our cyber store. We are assuming it's a multi-million-dollar online store. Just an assumption, but who knows? So now what we'll basically do here is, so to create a database for this store, I'm going to say create database or database. Okay, create database. Let's just call it cyber store. That will be the name. I usually have a habit of naming my databases in such a way that I can relate it with the application. Okay, so cyber store database is created. The cyber store database is empty for now. If I connect to it by saying use cyber store, it means I'm selecting the cyber store database. Okay, database change. That means I'm currently in the cyber store database, not in any other database here, right? So if I say show tables, we can see there are no tables here yet. It said empty set. Okay, so in the next video we're going to be creating the tables, and then subsequently we're going to start linking the tables to our online store. And then please, for you to follow up and get a notification when these videos come up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then I will see you in the next tutorial. Do have a lovely rest of the day.